Hey Astro Kids, and welcome back. This is June 11th, 2020. So, starting off here, we are entering into this Sun square exact over to Neptune. So this is a big moment here where we're finally at these last degrees of Gemini, starting to close out this Gemini season, approaching this new season of Cancer, which we will enter into on the 20th of June, coming into this new moon solar eclipse at the equinox that is coming up here. And so as we're coming up to this major moment of this eclipse that is happening on the same day as the solstice, this is a major turning point that we're entering into, and major time of clearing out these old belief systems that are holding us back from where we are headed along this new path that we are entering into. So big story is of this three-part eclipse season that is leading up to this big moment of change in our lives. And so we started off with that Sagittarius full moon lunar eclipse. That was that major point of clearing out those old belief systems of just hoping, wishing, and dreaming that something will happen. Remember that the South Node is here in Sagittarius, North Node in Gemini, which the Sun is starting to come into this conjunction with, where the story has been about how can we take our beliefs and turn it into something that we can actually have in our lives through the logical steps, through the plan, through actually making this happen in our lives. And so with the South Node in Sagittarius, it is a big time, because remember that the South Node is not what we are getting rid of, it is what we are using as the lesson to take us to the North Node. So this is a major time where this has been about taking your beliefs, your dreams, your hopes, your wishes, and finding the logical, tangible steps to get to that outcome. And so we're in a major time where there is no more running, there is no more escaping, but we are forced to face what is right in front of us. Because remember that this Gemini energy is connected to our environment, is connected to our familiar surroundings. So this is a big time of understanding how to actually put together these steps, this plan of action to move towards what we want to have for ourselves. And remember that we are just coming off of this Aquarius moon, now actually entering into a Pisces moon. And so this is where things become a little bit weird, a little bit unusual, as the moon enters into this very mystical, spiritual realm of Pisces, where, again, we're in this space of hoping, wishing, dreaming, believing, but remembering that we need to use these dreams, these beliefs, these feelings, and actually bring it into the physical. This is not a time where hoping, wishing, and dreaming will get you an outcome. So the big story here is, what are the logical steps that we can take to arrive at the goal that we want to achieve? And coming into this, with this square that's happening between the Sun and Neptune, there's a battle, a conflict that is going on here between our beliefs and our logical, rational plan of action. Right? With the Sun and Gemini here, we want to communicate, we want to think, we want to learn, we want to plan out our goals, we want to create something beautiful in this space. But with Neptune and Pisces, we're swept away into this dreamland of hoping and believing, especially at those last degrees of Pisces, where this energy becomes very intense. And if we look at this Gemini, which is at those last degrees, which is very Saturnian, right? Where this is very much about achieving our goals. It is about reaching the outcome. Because remember that as we get into those last degrees of Gemini, we're moving into that Aquarian space, that Saturnian energy of standing up, holding the authority, reaching a goal, having a plan of action. And so, at these last degrees of Gemini, there's a big conflict here of whether we are going to drift away into our feelings or whether we're going to come up with this logical plan of how we're going to get to where we want to be in our lives. So this is a big moment where we're having this inner conflict between our imagination and between our rational mind. And so there's a big theme here where we need to find a way to create this balance between the two sides, right? This is a big time of right brain, left brain, of using our imagination, our dreams to fuel the logical plan of action to arrive at the victory, to arrive at our goals. And so this is a big time of not only seeing the big picture of what you want to experience, but also taking the little steps to get there. And so coming into this, we are still dealing with this theme of, are you going to be in this place of wishing, of hoping, of dreaming? Or are we going to find a way to arrive at this place where we can find a rational plan of action? And remember that the planet that is dealing with this logic is here in Cancer, in this emotional energy, in pre-shadow, getting ready to retrograde on the 18th. And so with Mercury leading up to this retrograde, this is a big moment of understanding how we can logically arrive at what is nurturing, at what is fulfilling to us. And so, coming off of this moment of this eclipse, it has been a big, intense moment of understanding how to not just wish and dream, but how to understand how to actually take the steps to bring these dreams into reality. So major manifesting moment that we're in, but this requires change. And so for those of you who are holding on to the past, remember that we have this Uranus and Taurus, where we once found comfort and security is now being broken down, right? We're in this space of elevating, of changing, of growth. And so this old foundation that we once stood on is no longer serving us. And especially with Pluto being retrograde here in Capricorn, that this has been a major moment of transformation of our entire reality as we know it. And so as we're going through this moment, it is a big time to do the inner work. It is a big time to go deep within, to see where the challenges, where the obstacles are in your life, and to remove those blocks. Because remember that that lower octave of Pluto is of control. And so there is this need for control to latch on to what is old, what is familiar, with this being in Capricorn. Because remember that our new reality is this Saturn in Aquarius, which we are getting the sneak peek of at the moment. We're going to see more of this come December. But it is a big time where we're going to be tested of our reality, as Saturn will retrograde back into Capricorn. So pulling us back into the old reality, the old system, the old structures. And this is a major test of whether we are going to go back or whether we are ready to move forward in our lives. So major tests that we're going through here. This is retrograde season. This is eclipse season. This is calling for major change and major reinvention in our lives on all fronts. And remember that Venus is still retrograde, right? Venus is still in this space where we need to understand how to connect and how to relate to others. And as Venus is on its way to stationing direct, it's a big time of understanding how are you going to connect? How are you going to have these relationships and experiences in your life moving forward? And so there's a big question here of going deep within and understanding how to connect, how to relate. Remember that Gemini is about your immediate environment. It is about your familiar surroundings, your close connections. And Venus is here where this is major work that needs to be done in the relationship area. And so big lessons that are coming up here with your relationship with yourself, with others, with your job, with your home life, with your self-expression, right? So big questions of how are we going to relate and connect? And so this is a major time of going deep within, especially with Mars being here in Pisces, where remember that this is this passion, this drive to dream and believe. And there's a big question of what are your beliefs at this moment? Are you believing in something that is positive, something that is beneficial to you in your life? Or are you dreaming in a negative way, holding yourself back in old belief systems? And so with this Mars and Pisces, it is a big time of going deep within. It is a big time of looking at where the obstacles and challenges. And remember that Mars is going to station retrograde in its own sign of Aries come September. So we are dealing with major blocks and challenges to overcome as Mars gets ready to station retrograde. But big story is this Chiron that is in the sign of Aries, right? So Mars being the depositor of Aries here in this sign of Pisces, of belief, where our identity is based upon what we believe. And this is this obstacle that is stopping us from this beautiful connection. Remember that Juno is here in Libra, where this is about committing to the most beautiful life, the most beautiful connection that we can have. But the challenge here is this Chiron in Aries, where are we afraid of how we're going to show up? Are we afraid of how it's going to look? Questions of our ego, of our image, of our appearance, that is blocking us from having this beautiful experience. And remember with Vesta now in Cancer, that this beautiful divine spark within us is seeking out this nurturing, this fulfillment, this emotional connection. And even in nurturing and satisfying our soul, this Sirius in Pisces is all about this divine emotional connection. And so there is a question here of whether we are going to fully connect and invest in the full experience of what we want to have in our lives, or if we're just in the place of fearing what this experience looks like. And with the moon now in Pisces, it is in a trine here with Vesta, where there is this feeling of emptiness, this feeling of this void, this space for those who are not connecting, for those who are not fully connecting in what is truly nurturing and fulfilling to you. And so this is deep connection that we're looking for, especially with this vertex that is here in Scorpio, where we want this passionate, emotional, divine connection in our lives. But how are we doing this? By trying to detach. And there's a lot of this trying to detach from the experience. And so there is a lot here in terms of working on our connections with this Venus retrograde that is getting ready to come direct here towards the end of June. So coming up very shortly here, we have this Venus that is stationing direct, where this is a major time where we need to work on how we are connecting and relating to others. Remember that Venus is the esoteric ruler of Gemini, where this is about divine union. And speaking of divine union, I also pulled some cards for today as well. First card here is the Lovers. Divine union. This is a time of connection. This is a time of union. This is a time of creative expression. This is a time of connecting to others. And remember that this Lovers card is connected to the energy of Gemini, where this is about understanding both sides. And so understanding this balance of the feminine and the masculine, which we've dealt a great deal with, right, with that Mars and Venus square that we just recently came off of, where this is majorly about understanding how to bring together the masculine and feminine within yourself. But also coming into this space, it is a major time of understanding how to break up the big vision, the big goal. Second card here being Sagittarius. You see, you have this big dream, this big vision for yourself, right? We are dreaming and believing in this space. But what are the little steps to break this down in order to reach your goal? And so very interesting that we have this Sagittarius and Gemini energy that's coming up here, as we are majorly dealing with Gemini and Sag, with this North Node in Gemini, South Node in Sagittarius. This is a major time of understanding how to take our dreams, our visions, and to find the logical point, the logical plan to get there. Because remember, with the South Node in Sagittarius, our repeating patterns and cycles are in just hoping, wishing, and dreaming. And where we are trying to get to is in the true connection, is in the true creation, the true experience. Remember that Gemini is that curiosity of learning and gaining new experiences, and is exalted here with this North Node, as the North Node is that hunger for more experience. This never-ending hunger for new lessons and experiences. And that South Node is this endless pit that we continuously put our old lessons and patterns and cycles into. And so, not completely getting rid of this south node, but learning from this south node in order to reach for the north node. And this is especially major as these are in their exalted positions. So this is a big time of gaining new experiences in your life. And continuing into this eclipse season, we have this Cancer new moon solar eclipse that is happening on the solstice that is about forming this new connection, this new fulfillment, and leaving behind the old reality. Because remember that we're going to close this eclipse season with a full moon lunar eclipse in Capricorn. So we're not completely done with that Cancer Capricorn energy that we dealt with the North Node in Cancer, South Node in Capricorn. We are still clearing that cycle. And so major time of leaving behind the old reality. And we had a major reality check with that Pluto-Saturn conjunction at the beginning of the year, where this is a major time of change of our entire reality. Especially with Jupiter retrograde in a conjunction to Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. This is the most extreme, most expansive transformation of our physical reality as we know it. And so it is a big time of understanding the changes that need to take place for us to experience our best lives. And many trying to hold on to the old because it is safe, it is comfortable. But big time to pull in new experiences that serve you better in your life. So that was your horoscope for June 11th, 2020. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new content. And I want to thank you all once again so much for joining. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.